Hello, everyone, and welcome to BodyBags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Tats, and yeah, I'm continuing on with my review of Tim Burton films, and I'm still having fun doing it. And I think you guys can tell I am a Tim Burton fan. There are a couple of his movies I'm not really the biggest. Like Big Fish was okay, not one of my go-to Tim Burton films. Also, Big Eyes. It's like, yeah, I get it, but just not really my favorites of his. But this one here I want to talk about today is this is from 2012, and yes, there was a period of time where pretty much all Tim Burton did was, it seemed like all Tim Burton did was just do a bunch of remakes, and he ended up getting a two-picture deal with uh, Walt Disney, and sad to say, is like, yeah, from what I've understood, is that Tim Burton, he's done with working with Disney. I'll get to that in a minute. But he ended up they wanted him to do a two-picture deal, and both of the movies that they wanted him to shoot in 3D and IMAX. And the first one was Alice in Wonderland, or his version of Alice in Wonderland, and then the second one is the one I'm going to talk about today, which actually is a kind of a remake, but it's more of a feature-length version of Burton's original short film Frankenweenie. And this here is a fun little movie, and honestly, I really suggest you check it out. But like I said, this movie just makes me feel a little bit melancholy because you know, we'll go, really quick. We'll go into the story. It very much follows it's very faithful to Burton's original short story, but it's like Burton. He's all like, yeah, we're going to faithfully adapt my short film into a feature film, but we're going to add some more to it. And it's really, really cool and well done the way that he does it. Now, it follows the short film very closely. Like I said, you have this little boy, Victor Frankenstein, and he has his dog, Sparky. And, like he's very much, Victor, he's a little bit, he's a good kid, but he's a little bit of an oddball in that he would his parents, like in the original short film, the parents were played by Daniel Stern and Shelley Duvall, and in this one, the voices of the parents are Martin Short and Catherine O'Hara. And I get yeah, it's like he had Tim Burton was all like, hey man, Catherine O'Hara did so great on Nightmare Before Christmas, bring her back. It's like, I'm here for it. But anyway, so his parents are worried because Victor does come off as a little bit eccentric. I mean, he's a good kid, but he's a little eccentric, a little bit of an oddball. And rather than going out and playing with kids and playing sports and things like this, Victor would much rather spend time with his dog Sparky and make little homemade movies, kind of backyard movies and things like this, and kind of be more of a creative kid and stuff. And they're a little bit worried, and his father suggests to Victor, excuse me, that maybe try getting into sports and stuff like that. So Victor decides, well, okay. So he goes outside. He's playing with the baseball. He's playing with Sparky. They're playing fetch and all this. And similar to the short film, the ball rolls out into the street, and Sparky goes to run after him before Victor can stop him. Unfortunately, a car comes by, and poor Sparky is hit by the car. So, Victor, of course, is devastated because Sparky was like his best friend and he loved his dog more than anything. And so everybody's, and, but anyway, so meanwhile, Victor is in school one day, and this teacher, I can't pronounce the teacher's last name, so I'm just going to call him Mr. R. But the character, it's so, so cool, because the character is clearly, if you see the design of the character, it's Vincent Price. The character looks exactly like Vincent Price. There's no denying it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you see that, you watch this movie, you see the character of Mr. R, the science teacher, it's Vincent Price. That's what they model him after. And the voice is done by the late, great Martin Landau. And so it's an amazing performance. It's amazing character and stuff. And so he, is teaching the kids, like what we've seen in movies and television and, in science class and stuff before, the thing with like the frogs and, hook it up to the little battery, it makes the legs twitch and stuff like this. And so Victor gets the idea. It's like, hey, I can use, car battery and stuff like this, and I can resurrect my dog. And so he goes through, kind of goes through gathering all the things he needs and everything else. and he's um, he finally gets everything put together. Then he goes and he digs up his dog Sparky, and he uses the electricity method and all this other kind of stuff. Does the whole Frankenstein thing and everything, and brings Sparky back to life. But the problem is though, is like Sparky is, he's been hit by the car, so it's like yeah, so like his he's not 100% intact. So it's like so Victor has to keep like you can see like right there he's all stitched up and everything else, and like his tail falls off, and he has to like staple it back on and stuff like this. And so and but there's where this kind of veers off from the short film is that in the short film the neighbors find out about Sparky, everybody gets everybody freaks out and all this other kind of stuff, but it's like something similar happens here, but at the same time there is a difference because there are these other kids. Burton added the story of these other kids who they find out about Sparky, and it turns out that they have pets that they want to resurrect themselves. Like one is it's like I'm sure probably somebody probably be offended by it, but there's like an instance of a like a an Asian child who he has a pet turtle, and so he wants to resurrect his pet turtle and everything. But the thing is, it's like when they resurrect their pets and like things go really wrong. Like when he resurrects his pet turtle, it becomes this giant pet turtle. So you definitely have like a Gamera reference. I mean, it is clearly in your face a Gamera reference. And then you have like like you see like they end up they resurrect their pets, but they become these like kind of mutant kind of things, and this kid here is almost like a Igor kind of a character. And so, now that, they have to, and then once they resurrect these pets, it almost goes into Pet Cemetery kind of territory because these pets, these, resurrected animals start attacking and hurting people and stuff like this, and they have to be stopped. And it's really the only good resurrected, pet that comes back from the dead is Sparky, so so they're having to fight it and everything else. And there's this one girl. I think it was her. I think that's one that's voiced by Winona Ryder. I'm sorry, I don't really remember right off the bat. I just watched it. I don't remember. But one of the characters, I think she's kind of like a girl who's a little bit infatuated with Victor. But anyway, so yeah, so Victor and Sparky, they help kind of save the day and everything else. But everybody still is afraid of Sparky. They think that Sparky's going to do everybody damage, and so so there is kind of the scene kind of taken from the original film at the old windmill, and Victor is attacked. He's not attacked, but he's hurt, and Sparky pulls him to safety, but Sparky dies in the process, and so everybody realizes that Sparky, he's a good dog. He's not he's not a bad animal. He's a good dog. And so everybody's like, come on, let's help. And similar to the original movie, they're like, we gotta hurry up and try to see if we could save Sparky. So let's. So yeah, I think I'll just kind of leave it from there. But honestly, like I am, like I said, I'm very melancholy when I think of this movie because it is a really good movie, and this is a perfect. Like if you have somebody who is, like on the fence about horror films, and you want to give them a really, really good gateway movie into horror films, like this, you could not ask for a better movie than this. I mean, you have so many great horror movie references in this movie, and it's completely Tim Burton. It's very gothic, the style, the look of it, everything. It's completely gothic, and everything else. You have so many loving, nods and tributes to. Like I said, classic, like creature features. Like I said, the Gamera reference. You have, nods to like the Roger Corman, Vincent Price Poe adaptations. The AIP films. You have nods to that. You have nods to classic Universal monster movies. There is so much here that you could really, really like get somebody interested in like really a great gateway movie into horror films. For somebody who's not into them, somebody who somebody who's like wanting to, but they want to start off with something light and simple. This is perfect for that, and but the thing is though is like the downside, in my opinion, and it's like it doesn't bother me, but I know it's just the movie is in black and white. And while that doesn't bother me personally, I watch this, I put this on my projector, right there. I put it on my projector, watch it on my big screen, and it looks amazing. It looks so good. This looks beautiful. I'm not even joking. This looks amazing. And just even watching on my 4K TV, it looks astonishing. The black and white is glorious. But here's the problem. Most people don't watch black and white. I mean, sure, people my age, like the other guys on this channel, we love black and white movies. We're not, black and white doesn't wrinkle our eyes or our nose any. We're fine with watching black and white movies. But the problem is, this is a movie that's geared for kids. And the whole idea is to try to get kids into classic horror films and open the doors for them and stuff like this. But unfortunately, it's we're in this age now where they're not going to watch black and white movies. It's very, very, very rare when you're going to find that child who is going to sit there and watch a black and white movie and not have a problem with it. They're too removed from it. They're not going to do it. And I just personally, I think that's really, really sad because, if, people don't want to watch a black and white movie and you're missing out on such a good film here, And this is, this is the thing, when it comes to Tim Burton animated movies, this here, while it's a great film, it does not have the following that look at Nightmare Before Christmas, right? And Nightmare Before Christmas, it's huge. Nightmare Before Christmas has a gigantic fan following, and Corpse Bride actually has pretty big fan following as well. I've seen lots of people with Corpse Bride tattoos and Corpse Bride merchandise, things like this. So Corpse Bride is pretty much up there too. Both of those movies have a fan following, but you notice nobody really. This movie, as good as it is, it doesn't have the same fan following that something like, Corpse Bride or Nightmare Before Christmas, and a lot of that is because it's black and white, and unfortunately, a lot of people are not going to watch it. So, but if you do, if you do know somebody who is not going to be against a black and white movie, and if they, I think maybe if you maybe can't explain the aesthetic, I'm not saying that's going to always guarantee to work, but that is the sad unpainted truth. This is such a good movie, and if you had kids that they want to start getting into horror films and monster movies and things like this would be an excellent movie to get them started on, and but. Just unfortunately, I think because of the black and white, I think for a lot of kids nowadays, unfortunately, that's going to be a deal breaker. So, but from my understanding, though, is this movie actually is, this is the first movie the first black and white movie to be shot in IMAX, and the first stop motion animated movie to be shot in IMAX. So that's actually an interesting little tidbit of trivia that I found out. But and also too, it's I had just read an interview here not too long ago with Tim Burton where he's given up working with Disney because that's the thing, this movie, it's incredibly inventive. It's it's a not 100%. It's Tim Burton remaking his short film, but still, it is his own original idea. It's just him redoing it and expanding upon it, but it is his own original thing. But it's just, the idea that was the thing, from what I understanding is just that, it's Disney is they're never going to let him make something like this again. They're not even going to let him make something like Nightmare Before Christmas again. From my understanding is Disney is so wrapped up into trying to be political and trying to make political films and everything else that, Burton said, I walked away. It's there's no point in sticking with it. It's he said, it's you go, he's if I try to go in there and try to pitch a movie like this or Nightmare Before Christmas, they won't even let me in the door anymore, from what I read, he said he's if I go in there, it's the only thing that I'm going to be offered is I either got to work on a Marvel movie, a Star Wars TV show, or a live action movie of one of their cartoons. And he did the live action version of Dumbo, which not very well received. And I saw the movie myself, and definitely not Burton's finest hour. Even with a great cast of Colin Farrell, Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Eva Green, just even that didn't really just work. You know, I was like, the one thing I'm actually kind of surprised about, sorry, I don't mean to go off tangent here, but the one thing I'm actually kind of surprised about is like, how is it like before the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing came up? It's like if Disney wanted Burton to remake movies for them, how is it they didn't get Burton to remake Something Wicked This Way Comes? Like, like that would seem like, that would have seemed like something they definitely would have gone to him, or maybe Burton would have, you know, chose that himself. It's like, hey, hey, Tim Burton, we want you to do a movie for Disney. He'd be like, yeah, let me do a new version of Something Wicked This Way Comes, and I'll cast Johnny Depp as Mr. Dark. Like, that seemed like something that he would have done, or something that they would have gone with. But, it didn't happen. It was like, personally, that's a movie I would have, as much as I love Ray Bradbury's book, I love the original film. I adore Something Wicked This Way Comes. I used to watch it all the time as a kid, and I have it on DVD. Um, but yeah, that would have been something I would have thought. Like if Tim Burton was going to remake a Disney movie, you think it would have been something like that. Like, hey, I'm going to take, that seemed like that would have got his creative juices flowing. Like, hey, I'm going to remake Something Wicked This Way Come. I'm going to honor Ray Bradbury's story, but I'm going to put my own ideas and style into it and everything else. And my boy Johnny Depp, he's going to play Mr. Dark. You'd think they would have gone with something like that, but anyway, so yeah, that's overall. I really do recommend this movie. I mean, I know it seems like it's Disney, it's a kids' film and stuff like this, but there is so much here to unpack. And like I said, just unfortunately, I don't know if I really do hope that maybe kids will watch this, and future generations, it will help usher in a new generation of horror fans and kids who want to seek out horror and things like this and get into gothic things like this. But for if you're like me, it's like the other guys on the channel, hey guys, if you haven't seen this yet, honestly, give it a shot. I think you'd really be impressed with this because there is so much fun stuff here. There is so much homage to classic horror and everything else, and I think you'd really be into it. But for the younger generation, I honestly can't say, but it's like I do appreciate the days when Tim Burton could actually go into Disney and just unleash his creativity and give us great movies like this and great movies like Nightmare Before Christmas and stuff. It's like, but anyway, so that's it. So yeah, Frankenweenie, definitely check it out. It's like, give it a shot. Even if it is a kids film, there's stuff here for everybody to enjoy, and that's one thing I definitely miss from Disney movies. I miss the days when like Disney can make a movie and there's something in it for everybody to enjoy, something for everybody to have fun with. But oh well, so that's it. I think I've rambled on way long enough. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, would you please leave a like? And if you haven't already, go and subscribe to the BodyBags channel. We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week. I'm the Saturday reviewer. I'm working with an amazing group of guys. Everybody's doing really good stuff, and I'm always proud to be a part of this. And that's it, everybody. So take care, have a good night, and I'll see you later.